everyone, and welcome to this manga haul. Now this is going to be everything that I got in the past few months, so kind of in the autumn season. I ended up getting a lot more than I expected to. We will see how we go. There isn't really going to be an order for anything, however I am going to try and do like the one-off volumes first and then like the big chunks of volumes later, because there's one series in particular I have quite a big chunk of volumes for, which we will get to when we get to. But yeah, so without further ado, let's start getting into the actual volumes. So, starting up, we have a very, very exciting volume. This is volume 27 of Naragami, which is the final volume in the series. It is very thick. I know it's quite common for like the last volume in a series to be quite thick, but like I feel like this is double the size of a regular volume. As someone who watched the series when it originally came out as an anime and then eventually got into the manga and then kind of like went several years without consuming the manga and then recently reread it, and now I've reread it up to I think around volume 21 because I wanted to read the last few together once the final volume is out. So now it's out, so I can finally catch up and read the ending, which I'm excited for. I know it's always hard for a series to end and like it's hard to please everyone, but I'm excited to experience this one. If you didn't know, this is kind of a supernatural-esque series about gods in Japan, and a kind of no-name god called Yato trying to make a name for himself. That's a very simple premise. There's definitely part of this story that was like shockingly emotional for me, so yes. I need to be quicker because I have a lot to go through. Next up, we have volume 2 of Reliving My Life with a Boyfriend Who Doesn't Remember Me. I am so excited that this is out. I believe it was in the last haul, I could be wrong, that I was singing the praises of the first volume of this, and the second volume is no exception. This is a fantasy series where it follows this girl called Oriana, who obviously is dating this guy, but basically an incident happens where he is killed and she is killed after, but when she dies, instead of, I guess, dying, she is taken back in time to her 10-year-old self, I believe it is, and so she wants to kind of figure out why they died, but also needs to kind of rekindle this relationship with this person who now no longer knows her, even though she still has the emotions and feelings from being with him originally. That is kind of a simple premise, but I genuinely love this series. It's just very fun but also intriguing, and yes, I like also the setting, and the art is gorgeous as well. And then next up we have a volume of a series I haven't bought in quite a while, but I needed another volume for 3 and I thought this was a fitting one. So this is volume 3 of A Bride's Story. Now this I have only read the first volume of, but I do own the first 2 already, and one thing that is very notable about the series is the fact that it's such a nice addition, but is actually like not an expensive nice addition. I don't know if that made any sense, but obviously it is hardcover, and then the art in the series is absolutely gorgeous and so stunning and detailed. It's by Karu Mori, who also did Emma, which I know is quite a fan favourite. I did try reading that and I couldn't really get into it, which I was very disappointed about. But I did enjoy the first volume of A Bride's Story when I read it, and this was a while ago, and I do plan on continuing it, but it's not just high up on my list. But as I said, I needed another volume for 2, and I was not sad about getting this volume. So, from memory, it basically follows different cultures / I want to say tribes, that might not be accurate, but and the process of engagement and betrothal, I guess. But again, it's been a while, so please do not take my word for it. And then next up we have another series I haven't got in a while, actually, volume 6 of Shonen Note. Now I believe this is complete at 8 volumes, so I own the first 4 and I decided I want to try and complete it soon. I wasn't in a rush to get it because I just wasn't in a rush to read it, but I do plan on reading it because I've read the first 2 volumes of it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's also, I believe, by the same author of Our Dreams at Dusk, so it is a very beautifully well-told emotional story. This takes place in a school, and I believe specifically a school choir, and the main character is a boy who has quite a high-pitched feminine voice, and it's kind of his struggles with, I guess, dealing with the fact that that isn't going to last forever, and kind of, again, it's been a while since I read the first 2 volumes, but I believe it was him kind of struggling with whether he should kind of take the opportunity now to make use of it, or, you know, just come to terms with developing it, or, you know, actually just enjoying singing itself. I also genuinely love the colours and the covers for these. They're so pretty. And I'm excited to get all the volumes so I can complete reading it. Okay, and next up we have volume 10 of A Sign of Affection. I feel like I say this every time, but I feel like the series needs no introduction. It is a college set romance series about a girl who is deaf and a guy who is multilingual and their growing relationship, and it is so well known in the community for a reason. It is genuinely so good. It had an anime come out earlier this year, which was also really good. So yes, just solid good romance series. That's all there really is to it. But yeah, also the covers are always so gorgeous, and I love the fact that the spines form a pastel rainbow. It's my favourite thing ever. I have just discovered, while going through my books, I actually also have volume 9 of A Sign of Affection, so I'm just gonna show that off here and cut it in after I showed volume 10, but I do also have volume 9. I didn't realise that was in this box, but you know what, I got volume 10 out, I was like, I'm sure I haven't shown volume 9 before, but here we are. And then next up we have volume 9 of Isutoki Restorac. Again, I feel like I sing this praises for this series every time a volume appears. We are almost at the end. This is complete at 10 volumes, so the 10th volume is last. I have already read this entire series, but I'm looking forward to rereading it. This is a mystery series set in 1920s Japan. It's more like episodic mysteries. Our main character is this girl here who has the ability to hear when people are telling lies, and she becomes an assistant to a detective. But what I really like about this series is the fact that, like, you're able to piece together all the mysteries without her ability, if that makes sense. Like, her ability is kind of just like an extra thing. It's not necessarily important to how the mysteries are solved, and honestly most of the time her being able to hear the lies is like a red herring. So yes, I am very sad that we will soon be complete with this, but I'm excited to have all volumes in my collection. So yes, highly recommend more people check this one out. And then next up we have volume 42 of Year of the Dawn, one of my all-time favourite series. I genuinely love this cover so much. It is so beautiful. And then we obviously have Zeno and Jinna on the back. Year of the Dawn is a political fantasy series, which, once again, I feel like everyone knows Joan of the Dawn, but if you haven't, if you've been living under a rock, it is about a princess of the kingdom who is forced to leave the castle, and she gets to experience what her country's really like for the first time, and kind of changing the country for the better, I guess is a way to put it. I don't think I've ever explained it like that before, but that is that is part of it. But yeah, I know we're near the end. I can't believe we're near the end. I've been following the series for years. I can't believe we're almost at the end, guys. But yes, genuinely love this cover so much. Absolutely gorgeous, and there's still several volumes to go, but still, it's always sad when you're in like the final arc of a series. Oh, and next up, another one of my favourite series that is ending soon. So we have volume 10 of A Condition Called Love. This volume is a little battered up, but you know, it's still readable, which is obviously the most important thing. But this is one of my all-time favourite romance series. It basically follows two people who have very different ideas of love trying to navigate a relationship, but genuinely love this series so much. But yes, I believe it has already entered the final arc, I think, because it was on hiatus. I think it's back off hiatus and it's now in its final arc, which I am kind of glad of, just because I'm the type that likes when series end, so I feel like it was at the point where it should kind of reach an actual conclusion, but it is where that conclusion is going to end up is the important part. But yes, Condition Called Love, a romance series that I love very dearly. Next up, we have a very anticipated re-release or reprint. We have Red River, the omnibus 3-in-1 even edition. Now, this is a series that I am purely reading because I have heard somewhere that this is mandatory reading if you are a Year of the Dawn fan, so I feel like, you know, I need to at least give it a shot. So I bought the first omnibus, and I'm not going to buy any more until I read this first omnibus, which who knows when I'll get around to it. But I do know it is a classic shoujo series that I am excited to try out for the first time, especially because so many people wanted a reprint of the series. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a go. I will say I personally really hate omnibus volumes, and especially 3-in-1s. Like a 2-in-1 I can deal with, a 3-in-1 I just feel like it's too much. But you know what? we take what we can get. So I am glad that they have reprinted this. Oh, next up we have a manhwa, and that is volume 7. I was going to say 6. Volume 7 of Who Made Me a Princess. Can I just say the holographic on this one is so beautiful. Like, this entire cover is just so ethereal. Like, it's beautiful. And then you have it on the spine as well. Whoever made these editions, like, genuinely, great job. You are doing amazing. But this is my favourite manhwa series. So I have just been collecting the physical editions as it goes on, and I do plan on rereading once I have them all. I actually really, recently I got the urge to reread the series, and I was like, no, you have to wait for the physical editions to release. And I actually don't know how many volumes it is exactly, because obviously I read it on like chapter by chapter rather than by volumes, so I don't know how many it is total. I think it's like 10. Let's see what part of the story this is at. Oh, this is quite far in, so I don't know. I don't know. It could be ending soon. I will correct and add on, but yes, absolutely beautiful cover, amazing series with gorgeous art. It is about a girl who dies, reincarnated, obviously, begins as a baby, remembers from a previous life that she is a character from a novel, and she knows that the character that she is killed by her father when she turns, I think it's 18. So, you know, rewriting the story to try and not get that fate. Basically, simple premise that has been used quite a lot now. However, I really love the focus on the familial aspect of the series. If you're wanting romance, there like isn't really romance. There are love interests, but nothing really develops with them. So just a forewarning if you are wanting romance. But I just really like the familial and platonic relationships that develop in the series. As I said before, art is gorgeous, and the world is stunning. So yes, I actually know the artist who did this the artist who did this series has done like a prequel series for King the Land, which was a K-drama, and I actually started watching that and then I didn't finish it, but I know that the prequel series that they've done is getting an English print, so I'm probably gonna just read that purely because I love the artist like art so much and no other reason. Next up, we actually have a light novel. We have the 86 Altar, I believe it's just called 86 Altar, which is a collection of short stories from the series 86. I don't plan on reading this anytime soon because I believe that this takes place after like volume 10 and I am not there. I have finished up to volume 6 and I haven't continued because I don't have volume 7 and I really want to read it physically, so I don't know when I'll get to continue. But I have the short stories ready for when I do get there. I do know that some of these were actually adapted into the anime, but I'm still gonna reread this. So yes, 86 is a sci-fi political war drama, and honestly it's the kind of series that I think it's better to go in blind, but just know that there's a heavy topic of like racism, segregation, that kind of stuff, on top of having really cool mechs. So yes, that is 86 Alta specifically. Oh, next up we have volume 1 of She Loves to Cook and She Loves to Eat. This was on sale and I decided to give it a chance because I have always struggled to find like a GL series that I've like loved, and I've known about this series for a while because, funnily enough, I know about it because of Dumont Shizuki, who has recommended or pointed it out on her like fan account, I don't know, her like hobby account. However, I've always stayed away from it just because I don't really like series that are focused on and around food, but I've heard recently so many good things about this series, so I feel like, you know, I'll at least give volume 1 a shot, but we'll see how I go. As I said, the same was true of Our Dining Table, which is a BL one-shot, where initially I was struggling to get into it because of the whole premise of food, and then in the end the series made me cry, so you know what, I'm gonna give this one a fair shot as well. I don't actually know how many volumes it is, and I'm assuming it's still ongoing, I don't know, but I am looking forward to reading it. Okay, next up we have a little bit of me being an idiot. So we have volumes 4, 5 and 6 of the Persona 3 manga. I actually already own this volume, I didn't realise, and I bought it anyway. But with these two, I have now only one volume left to get to complete the series, which is volume 7, which is apparently really hard to find, and I didn't realise that, but you know what, I will get it eventually. And this one I'll obviously be selling or something. I have not decided, but yes, this is just a manga that follows the story of the game. I really like Persona 3, so I wanted to own the manga as well. That is the simple explanation of it. Okay, next up we have another manhwa series. We have Moira Diana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion, one of my first of this kind of like subgenre, I guess. And it is very dear to me, and of course I needed to pick up the physical volumes. I actually really like the borders on these volumes. I believe we're near the end as well for this series, but I'm not too sure. Again, because I didn't read them in the like volumes rather than the chapters, so I don't actually know how many volumes are in each. Ooh, that is a very nasty dip. I didn't realise. But this again is person dies, or in this case she was actually killed, and is born again as or reincarnated as a character in a novel that they read in their previous life. In this one, she is the character that gets murdered at the beginning of the novel, so in order to save her life, she goes to meet the male lead of the novel, which is the Duke, and they establish a business relationship too, which obviously turns into an actual relationship. I really want to reread the series as well, but I will hold off until I have all the physical volumes. I feel the urge. I'm once again in that kind of like villainous isekai mood. I know this and Who Made Me a Princess aren't villainous, but I count them in the same like subgenre of like consumed a piece of media in my past life that I have now reincarnated into. So yes. If anyone has any good recommendations, doesn't necessarily have to be in physical print, just please let me know. So next up we have volume 6 of The Last Game, a series I love so much, and I say this every time but I can't believe it got a physical English print. And this is a mostly in college set series. It technically starts in like elementary school, and then there's a couple chapters which are elementary school to high school, and then the rest of it is in college/university. But it is about our female lead who is very oblivious, and she's just trying to like work her way through the social ladder. Like, she barely has friends, romance is not on her mind, and then our male lead actually is not on the cover, he is on the back here, but he is in love with her, and he is desperately trying to get her to kind of fall in love with him, kind of, in very desperate attempts. And I just thoroughly enjoy this series. It's fun, goofy, but genuinely well written in my opinion. And I really hope we actually get the authors, like, some of their other works, because obviously this is their most well-known and famous one, but I really want to read some of their other works. So please, I am begging. I hope this does well, and 7Cs, please license more of them. Thank you. Okay, and next up we have a series that I ummed and ahed about getting the physical versions of this, and in the end I decided I wanted to, and that is volume 1 and 2 of Turns Out My Online Friend Is My Real Life Boss. This is just a goofy, silly BL rom-com, I guess. It's very fun and silly, and that is the element of it that I enjoy. I do also genuinely really like the relationship between the main two, but I just think this is a fun read. As I said, I debated about whether or not I wanted the physical editions just because I wasn't sure if it was a series that I liked enough to own physically, but I decided to reread it and I genuinely really enjoyed it, so here I have the physical editions. It does confuse me that, like, volume 1 is so much thicker. I do believe this was published, like, on the servers like Pixiv or something first, and then it got brought into becoming a volume, and that's why this one's so much thicker than this one. But I hope volume 3 comes out soon because I really want to know what happens next. But yes, so we have volume 1 and 2. I mean, this is kind of, this is it. This is the whole story. I don't need to explain anything else. See, I know we knock on the titles for being so long, but it does make explanations so much easier sometimes. Okay, so we have volume 1 and 2 of Opposites Attract, and I have been so excited since this was announced. As a dog lover who lives in a world where we only get cat manga, I was so excited about this, and I read volume 1 and it's so cute, and volume 2 has been hostage in this box waiting for me to haul so I can read it, so I am going to be reading this tonight. I'm so excited too. But it's just basically about this guy and girl who kind of have dogs that are complete opposite to what they would like stereotypically have, and little episodic stories about them, and it's so cute. I love it so much. It's just so healing. And I highly recommend. And just look at them with the little bibs, they're so cute. And you get like the little inner thoughts of the dogs as well sometimes, which is cute. And how cute. Also, I have no idea who she is, but I feel like I'm gonna love her. Yes, that is volume 1 and 2 of Opposites Attract. I have also realised in here that I have a duplicate of Maybe a Princess Volume 7 again. How do I have 2 duplicates? I'm shocked. Maybe I sent for a replacement? I don't know. It's been a while. If anyone questions how good my memory is, there you go. So, next up we have Volume 12 of the Apothecary Diaries. I'm so excited for season 2 to come out. I actually have stopped reading the manga just due to the anime coming out, but I do know I have stopped at a point that like we still have quite a while to go at the anime. I am still collecting manga because I genuinely love this series, and I do think the manga is good, so like it's not like I'm not going to go back and read the manga, but as I said, it's still quite a while until we get to the point where I stopped reading the manga. So yes, I'm excited so much. But this is a series that is set in the Chinese imperial court, and we have our main character Mao Mao, who starts as a court maid and eventually becomes a poison taste tester for one of the concubines, and then using her apothecary knowledge, she helps solve kind of like mysteries that are going on within the palace. And then following the mystery train, we have My Dear Detective. I was so excited when they announced a physical print for the series because I read the series, I can't remember if it was a year ago or not. I read the series a while ago and I loved it. So I am so excited to have it in a physical print. If you couldn't tell, I just really love this kind of aesthetic and setting. Once again, it is a series that is set in 1920s Japan, and we have our detective. I guess her name's Mitsuko? Yes. I could not remember that. But we have our detective, and she gets this guy as an assistant, basically, to help her out. And once again, I believe it is an episodic mystery series, but I very much enjoy that. So yes, please check this out, especially if you like Usatoki Rhetoric. You'll probably like this as well, just from setting and theming. But obviously, in this case, we have Mitsuko being the detective and the guy being the assistant. So yes, recommend, really recommend. I say that like it has been a while, so I will reread after I get a few volumes. Everything I get, I'm like, I'm gonna reread, but you don't understand how much I actually reread things. Like, I don't consume that much new content. I end up just rereading everything that I've already consumed. And then we have volume 7 of Cinderella Closet. I'm so sad because we're so close to the end. I know this is ending at 8 volumes, but I genuinely love this series so much. This is such a good, short romance series. We follow our main character, Haruka, who has a crush on a guy at work, but she's not very feminine and confident, and she ends up meeting someone called Hikaru, who helps her out in becoming more feminine to get this guy's attention. However, she doesn't realise Hikaru is actually a guy who likes to dress in female clothing, and that is kind of like the starting point of the series. But genuinely, love this series. I don't know what I'm going to do when it ends. I literally look forward to a volume every time it releases. Okay, I have 2 more one-off volumes, and then I believe it's just like chunks of series. So, we have volume 25 of Serif at the End. This is a series that I'm slowly collecting. I'm actually almost like completely caught up to it. I'm missing volume 14, and then I've got basically every volume up to, I think, 20, and then I'm missing some in the 20s, which I've purposely left out because I wanted to get the earlier volumes first. And I know volume 14 is available, it's just like high priority. Like, I'm not in a rush to get Serif at the End. It won't be hard to find. So yes, but this is a series that I'm probably gonna wait until it like fully finishes before I'm gonna take on the challenge of rereading. This is a series which is kind of like I guess a post-apocalyptic series where a virus kills, I believe, 70% of the world. Maybe it's 90%, I can't remember, it's been a while. They kill a lot of world, and then vampires use this opportunity to take all of the under 13s as kind of livestock and a blood supply. And it follows our main character, Yu, who's from an orphanage, who manages to escape the vampire facility and kind of vows vengeance on all the vampires. But there's a lot more going on. It's kind of like an insane series but I kind of think that's the fun part of it. Like, you just never know what to expect or what's going to happen. So yes, that is Serif of the End. And then we have volume 13 of Monty Girls Nozaki-kun. I actually own up to, I think, volume 8. I got this because it was on offer and I was making an order anyway, and I plan on getting it anyway. But this is just a comedy series which takes on kind of tropes regarding shoujo manga and writing manga and that kind of element, and it's one of my favourite comedy anime. And I started reading the manga and I have enjoyed the manga. I still think the anime is better just because I think the jokes hit harder for me personally, but the manga is still a great way to consume it, and obviously it goes much further than the anime, so which is why I wanted to pick it up. But yeah, next up we have the second stall for Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. This is the second box set for the series. I was planning on buying this a lot later because I have actually been buying the volumes as they came out, so I didn't necessarily need this. However, I saw this on a great offer, so I was like, you know what, now's the time because I'm going to buy this anyway. But it is an absolutely gorgeous box set. I do think, personal opinion, Yen Press do the best box sets, and then 7Seas do the best special editions, and I think, if I'm being honest, Viz do the worst in both regards, but that's just my opinion. But it is an absolutely gorgeous one. Obviously, this is the second one, so the first one has volumes 1 to 10, and this has volumes 1 to 20. I also like the way that they've designed this, in that no matter how many volumes the series ends up being, they'll be able to make a final box set that will match, since this is for 10 volumes, but if it was 5 volumes, then you could only do one stall, and then obviously they could put some kind of padding in to, you know, make up for the remaining volumes. And then, of course, we have all of the volumes in here. I'm not going to show off them all, but I will get volume 20 out if I can, because I don't own this volume yet, and I love this cover, so let's move this to the side. Here we have volume 20. So pretty. But Toilet Bound Hanako-kun is a series about supernaturals and ghosts, and it is most well known for its distinct art style, which is gorgeous, of course. The second box set comes with some art cards, which I will show off here. So these are actually art cards of the special editions that released in Japan, so I'm so happy to have them, the art for them. In the first one that they did a poster, and I personally don't like the posters that come with manga box sets, so I like these so much better. Oh, they smell funky. Oh, I hate the smell. I'm so glad you guys can't smell through that. But we have this volume, which is the special edition of volume 12, and it's like shiny where they are, and then matte everywhere else. And on the back it's just blank. And then this is the special edition for volume 15, which I actually own the special edition of this. So yes, here it is. And then this is the special edition for volume 11, I believe. So yes, super pretty, 100% worth getting. If you are considering buying Toilet Bound Hanako-kun and you haven't already committed to something, I highly recommend these box sets. They're just so nice, such good quality. I'm actually going to leave these out because I think I'm going to display these somewhere else, so we will put those to the side. But yes, that is the second stall. Okay, next up, I have a lot of volumes of the series. Oh, I have found an escapee single volume. Okay, we'll do this one next. This is volume 8 of I Cannot Reach You, a very cute childhood friends to lovers BL series that I very much love. I just love the childhood friends to lovers trope, and I think this is a very cute series, and I was so excited for this volume to come out, and now I have to wait for the next one, very sadly. But yes, okay, now that I've done that quickly, we can move on to the big chunk of volumes that I have. I don't know how to do this, there's so many. So I was going to say recently, it's not so recent by the time I'm filming this, but I have gotten into D.Gray-man. I read the entire series in about a week, and I loved it so much, so of course I had to buy the manga for it. So we have not every volume of the manga, but the majority. I had a rule where I wasn't allowed to buy it if it was over a certain amount, so there are certain volumes that are missing. But we're just going to quickly do a cover display. But D.Gray-man is a series that is set in kind of like a, I believe it's like an alternate reality 1800s world, and it follows exorcists. It follows exorcists that kill these I'm gonna say creatures called Akuma. That isn't exactly right, but it is an absolutely phenomenal series that I cannot recommend enough, especially if you like supernatural series. I have wanted to read this for so long, and I put it off for several reasons. The biggest one being that if you know anything about D.Gray-man, you probably know that obviously it originally started as a weekly series in the 2000s, and then it turned to a monthly series, I believe, and then the author had to go on a large hiatus for health reasons. And now it is back as a 3-monthly series, and so the plot progression actually hasn't been that much in the recent years, but I'm okay with slow release series. It was more the fact of, is the series ever going to get an ending, kind of. That was more of my concern, but it has been quite consistent in the previous years, and now that it has a slower release schedule, there's less worry for a hiatus. So I decided it was time. I was also just feeling the urge to try reading it. So as you can see, I enjoyed it very much, and I now own the majority of the volumes. Again, I'm missing, what ones am I missing? 2, 6, 8, 9, and 11, and 14. So I will get those eventually, but as I said, I've already read all of it, so it's not a big concern. Okay, and then last up, we have some second-hand pickups. These first two, I'm so unbelievably ecstatic to have and to finally own. So we have Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Pandora Hearts, Race. If you don't know what this is kind of like a spin-off light novel series for Pandora Hearts, which is my favourite series of all time. There are 3 volumes total, so still don't have the third, and the third is very, very hard to find, so I'm not expecting to find this anytime soon, but I'm so happy to have these. Now obviously they aren't in the best condition. I have tried to fix them up a little bit, but we've got some ripping there, obviously there's some damage there. This one I believe has a dot, yeah, it has like a big dot on the bottom, but I got these for a pretty good price considering what they go for, so I'm just happy to finally own these. Obviously one day I would like to own that third volume, but I'm not going to pay an arm and a leg for it, and I'm just so happy to have these. So these are like my most exciting purchase for this haul at least. So yes, super, super, super happy to have these. And lastly, if you watched my last haul, I mentioned that I began picking up Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle. I don't know if that's the manga name. That's the anime name. I think it's just called Tsubasa in the manga translation. But anyway, by Clamp. And it's quite a hard series to find in the singles, which is why I'm collecting them in. But I have managed to pick up some more volumes of it. Now, I did buy these in a set where it had more volumes than I needed. So I'm just going to show the ones. Actually, let's just show them all. Why not? So, these ones I already have. So we have Volume 3, Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 10, and Volume 13. That one's out of order, but you know it's fine. And then we do have Volume 11, 12, and 14. And then the rest of the volumes are ones that I did need. These are all the ones that I actually needed. So we have Volume 15. We have Volume 16, Volume 17, Volume 18, and I do already have Volume 19, and then I also managed to find Volume 20, so now I have a straight shot to Volume 20, which is very exciting, and then I also have a Volume 28, which is the last volume, very thick one. So I have a straight shot to Volume 20, and then the last volume. But that does mean I only need 7 volumes, and they may be 7 of the most hard to find volumes, but I do only need 7 volumes. So that is exciting, and those 7 volumes I will only collect gradually. Like, I don't need them all right now, unless I saw them for like an amazing deal, but I highly doubt it. So yes, I am happy I was able to add these volumes. So yeah, I was about to say that was it for this one haul, but I feel like that was quite a lot. I don't actually know how many volumes it is. But yes, I hope you enjoyed. I probably won't be buying this much in the future, but you know what, who knows, because I thought that for the past few months, and here I am, so who knows. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.